She walked into the dealership with a dream, and walked out humiliated, all because of how she looked. They told her she didn't belong there, laughed, even. But less than 24 hours later, a black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up, and when the door opened, their faces said it all. This isn't just a story, it's a lesson they'll never forget. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon at the luxurious Zenith car dealership, glass walls, polished marble floors, and million-dollar cars on display. Sunlight streamed through the massive showroom windows, glinting off the polished hoods of Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and Ferraris. Every corner of the place whispered wealth, exclusivity, and status. Salesmen in tailored suits hovered near the cars like hawks waiting for prey. Their eyes scanned every person who walked in, quickly calculating whether they looked like someone ready to spend serious money. That's why, when a young black girl, no older than 13, walked in, the atmosphere shifted. She wore a neatly pressed school uniform, a cream sweater with a school crest, a blue pleated skirt, and a matching tie. A backpack tugged at her shoulders, and her hair was tied into a high puff, swaying with each step. Her name was Maya. She didn't rush. She didn't touch anything. She simply walked among the rows of cars, admiring them with wide eyes full of curiosity and wonder. The red Ferrari caught her attention immediately. She stood in front of it, her reflection stretching across the glossy hood. For a moment, she imagined what it might be like to sit inside, to hold the wheel, to feel the engine purr beneath her. Then it happened. A sharply dressed man burst out of an office at the far end of the showroom. His expensive suit couldn't hide the arrogance in his posture. He stormed toward Maya, his shoes clacking against the marble floor. Customers turned their heads. Employees straightened up nervously. His voice rang out, cold and dismissive. This is no place for school kids. Especially ones like you. Leave. Now. The entire dealership fell silent. Maya looked up, blinking in surprise. I'm just waiting for someone, she said softly. But her calm tone seemed to infuriate him even more. We don't allow loitering. You heard me. Out. Her cheeks flushed slightly, but she didn't argue. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply looked at him, her brown eyes unblinking, her small hands still at her sides. Customers nearby glanced around uncomfortably, unsure whether to step in. Some frowned. Some looked away. And the salesman, who had seen the whole thing, stayed quiet. Security was called over. 2 guards appeared, their presence more for show than force. But Maya didn't wait for them to escort her out. She nodded politely, turned, and walked toward the exit. Not a single tear fell. Not a single insult left her lips. She just smiled. But it wasn't the kind of smile you'd expect. It wasn't bitter or fake. It was a knowing smile. A smile that said, you have no idea who you just judged. Outside, the breeze gently rustled the trees. Maya took a seat on a low wall outside the dealership, pulled out her phone, and sent a quick message. Her thumbs moved with purpose. Then she looked up and waited, her posture relaxed. Behind her, inside the glass walls of Zenith Motors, the manager dismissed the moment as just another day's work. Just another troublemaker sent away. He never once considered that he might have made a mistake. But what he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Maya wasn't just anyone. She was the daughter of one of the most powerful men in the city. And he was already on his way. The automatic doors of Zenith car dealership slid open with a gentle whoosh as Maya and her father, Alexander Kingston, stepped inside. The sound of polished leather shoes on marble floors cut through the hush like a blade. Conversation stopped. All eyes turned to the man who had just entered. Tall, powerful, sharply dressed. He didn't need to raise his voice. His presence alone demanded attention. Alexander Kingston was more than just a billionaire. He was a symbol of power earned through intelligence, discipline, and vision. The CEO of Kingston Group, he owned tech companies, investment firms, real estate empires, and now, unknowingly to Zenith, he owned this moment. The salespeople who had turned their backs on Maya just a day earlier now scrambled to straighten their ties, adjust their posture, and plaster fake smiles on their faces. Some of them began whispering, recognizing him from Forbes and financial magazines. The manager who had insulted Maya appeared at the top of the stairs overlooking the showroom. As soon as he saw Alexander Kingston, his confidence drained. His smirk vanished. He started down the steps quickly, nervously brushing invisible dust from his suit. "Mr. Kingston, sir, welcome to Zenith," he said, extending his hand. "We are honored by your visit." But Alexander didn't shake his hand. He simply looked the man in the eye and said, "You humiliated my daughter." The words, though soft, struck harder than a shout. The manager stammered. "Sir, I didn't know who she was. I didn't realize." Alexander raised his hand slowly, silencing him. "You didn't need to know who she was to treat her with respect. That's the problem." Silence blanketed the showroom like snow. The tension was unbearable. Everyone could feel the weight of what was coming. "I raised my daughter to walk with her head high," Alexander continued. "To treat everyone with dignity, even when she's not given the same. Yesterday, she walked into this showroom because she loves cars. She wanted to look. She wanted to dream. And you tried to shrink her because of how she looks, how she dresses." The manager swallowed hard, sweat beginning to gather at his collar. "Tell me," Alexander said, narrowing his eyes, "what do you see when you look at her? A kid with no money? Someone who doesn't belong here?" The manager was frozen. "Wrong," Alexander said. "You're looking at the future owner of a racing team. A future engineer. A leader. And the only thing you taught her yesterday, was how low some people will go to feel powerful." Behind him, Maya stood tall. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She simply watched, learning from her father the power of calm truth spoken with strength. Alexander turned and addressed the staff. "I came here today not to buy your cars," he said. "I came to buy your attitude. And I'm paying for it with this lesson." He paused. "My daughter is not your stereotype. And she is never, ever, to be spoken to like that again." Then he turned back to the manager. "Now," he said coolly, "I believe you owe her an apology." The manager's hands trembled. His face pale, he turned to Maya. I'm sorry," he mumbled. "I was wrong." Maya nodded. "I accept your apology," she said softly. "But make sure the next girl who walks in doesn't have to ask for one." The entire dealership stood still. In that moment, it was clear, Maya had already won. Next morning, long before the dealership opened, a black and gold Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up. Heads turned. The driver stepped out and opened the door for Mr. Kingston himself. He didn't yell. He didn't complain. He asked for the manager from the previous day. The same one who kicked Maya out. The manager appeared, trying to hide his shock. "Sir, can I help you?" Mr. Kingston handed him a silver business card. "Yesterday, you threw my daughter out of this dealership. Today, I came to buy every car on this floor." The room went silent. The staff froze. "But," he continued, "not for myself. For a new youth program I'm funding, for underprivileged kids who deserve better than judgment and disrespect." And then, calmly, he said, "You'll deliver the cars to the charity center. Free of charge. Or I take my business and reputation to your biggest competitor." The manager stuttered. "Why yes, sir." Mr. Kingston turned to leave. Just as he reached the door, he paused. "Oh, and Maya. She'll be back here next week, for her first driving lesson. With you." News spread like wildfire. Billionaire buys out dealership after daughter was disrespected. But Maya never gloated. She didn't post selfies with the Rolls-Royce. She didn't call out the manager by name. When reporters finally asked her why she didn't react angrily or fight back, her response was simple. "My dad always says, how people treat you is their story. How you respond is yours." That moment became a lesson for thousands watching online. Kids were inspired. Parents praised her maturity. And the dealership? They issued a public apology and pledged to retrain all staff on inclusivity and respect. A week later, Maya returned to the same dealership, this time, walking hand in hand with her father. Staff greeted her with respect. She got into a test car, guided gently by a new, much humbler manager. But more importantly, she brought 5 of her school friends along. Not to shop, but to show them that no one's appearance should ever define their worth. And in the end, the real twist wasn't the Rolls-Royce or the billionaire status. It was a young girl's quiet strength, her father's wisdom, and a reminder that character, not wealth, is the true definition of luxury. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.